with us Dr. Swati Piramal, President of Assocham, a medical doctor doing business and becoming a leader of businessmen of the nation. And she has the rightful place in the National Integration Council of the Prime Minister of India. May I request Dr. Swati Piramal to speak a few words.
Mr. Salman Khurshid, Honorable Minister of State for Corporate Affairs, Mr. Sunil Mitra, Honorable Secretary Revenue, Mr. S.S.N. Murthy, Mr. V. Sridhar, Mr. Shailendra Kumar, Mr. Vijay Kumar, Mr. D.P. Sen Gupta, other distinguished guests in the dais, members of the media. It is an honor for me to be here today on this very special occasion, and I would like to thank Tax India for inviting me. Recently, a friend of mine sent me a DVD about one of America's most famous scientists. His name was Thomas Edison. He invented the light bulb. But you know what happened to him after he invented the light bulb, though he was known for his invention? When he invented the moving picture, the US Supreme Court struck it down and said that that technology would really destroy the nation. It was only years later that America recognized him as one of the country's biggest inventors of innovation, as motion pictures became indeed America's big money spinner. So there is what is called a democratic time lag, a time between when an idea comes and the time when it is accepted by the people. And I think this same democratic time lag I am seeing in every sphere in Indian life. One of the big spheres that we are seeing it is indeed in the implementation of tax reform. It is heartening to know that we are going to go for GST and direct tax reform in the near future. But we are already behind 150 countries. 150 countries are ahead of us. So there is a time in which the democratic lag takes place. And I think it is very important for us to reduce that democratic time lag. I know that happens how we as civil society really reduce that democratic time lag. As the president of Assocham in the last 4 months, I've been seeing an amazing plethora of heads of state coming to India. I think I've had lunch with about 40 of them, prime ministers, presidents. So my mother-in-law often asks me, what on earth do you do in Delhi as president of Assocham? And I told her, I said, मैं रोज राजा रानी को ही मिलती हूँ, कोई दिन राजा, कोई दिन रानी. And I met with the president of Germany, and I remember him saying to me that, you know, my bankers, they really followed blindly the West, and that's why they're in this mess. Whereas India didn't do that. India's conservative banking policies made its economy grow to more than 8%. So what you are doing must be heard throughout the world. And I think Mr. Sen Gupta mentioned it, that India's voice must be heard loud and clear. We should be leaders and not followers of new thinking, perhaps related to finance and tax reform, more than any other, because we can really take on the world and become, as he said, the leading website for international tax reform. So I think that we have to believe in ourselves to make our voice heard. One day Sam Pitroda was saying, he was explaining to a foreign visitor why India is really doing well. And he said, you know, you have only to walk down the street, or you only drive down an Indian street, and any foreigner who drives on any Indian road will find it difficult to reach point A to point B. And he said, you know, the thing is that everybody reaches at the proper place. That if you look around that very dusty road, you will find that everything is chaos. But the thing about India is that there is excellence amongst chaos. And perhaps our tax system is a bit like that it is very complex. It is very difficult for an ordinary person to understand. But yes, there is excellence. And there can be a kind of fiscal history being created in the next few months when GST is implemented. As the president of Assocham, the first thing I did was hard for me to do because I'm a medical doctor, but I had to go around the country. I visited 15 states. I've done 25 seminars on GST and direct tax. And I realized the great interest of the small industries, the medium industries, in understanding what this new tax reform was going to happen. All this was in tier 2 cities, and every seminar I held had nearly maybe 1,000 delegates who came and who wanted to know how this fiscal history was being created in our country. Indeed, Indian industry wants to be at the top table of the world. It wants to be a leader. It wants to reduce inefficiency. It wants to make its industry competitive. It wants to make it really the best in the world. And that is why I think every Indian industrialist is looking forward to tax reform and is looking forward to saying, hey, we can be some of the best in the world. So all these seminars, and many of you have assisted me in speaking at these seminars, thank you for that, has really been very, very enlightening. The liberal economic policies have provided an impetus for industry and trade and leading to a high growth. However, ladies and gentlemen, the industry does face challenges in regard to the direct tax code, especially those on asset-based taxation. Indian industry needs an efficient, equitable and transparent tax code. Assocham has launched a national economic awareness campaign, and with the support of the Finance Ministry, I have visited at least 14 states talking about critical tax reforms. I'm going to do another 15 states soon in the next few months. So Assocham has been a real leader in plotting the roadmap for GST reform, and you have been ably assisted by the Tax India portal, of which you just heard. And I am sure that the international taxation portal, because of the NRIs, because of a large amount of interest in FDIs, global acquisitions and mergers, and complex issues such as transfer pricing, service tax, have resulted in this need for clarity. So I'm very glad that this wonderful portal is going to do that, make it simple for all of us in industry, and it will provide a window for information. I thank you once again for inviting me to this wonderful event.